Thank you, everybody. Are we ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody, welcome to this panel discussion. It's something that I have been looking forward to. So for those who do not know, it's going to be something about, let's see, I'm going to read out the title, so this is going to be interesting. It's called Aspirational Imperfections, Why We Care About Making Digital Worlds You Can Touch. And the panel will introduce themselves. So without further ado, enjoy. It's up to you, Isabelle.
Hi. Thank you all so much for coming. We're going to be talking about making handcrafted games. We're all going to kind of go down the line and introduce ourselves, and thank you so much for coming here today.
Hi, thank you. I'm Biagi. I'm making a game with Antonio and Isabelle that is like a handcrafted narrative game about going home. This is a few just like of the puppets and set pieces, and then the actual like cityscape and whatnot. Little process, and we'll go more in depth as we go. But let's keep going down the line.
Yeah. Hi, you already know me. I'm Isabelle, working on that game.
Weren't we doing the like answering a cool question so people like? No, what's the first thing you've ever crafted?
We're introducing ourselves first.
But I thought it was part of the introduction. Oh my God. Now I'm all like messed up because I prepared to answer something and now it's something else.
Well, you can answer it next.
Okay. I'm Antonio. I'm from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I'm working with these two. We're based in Brooklyn, and that's it, because apparently we're not talking anymore.
Okay. You're gonna DJ the slides? Thank you. Whoa. Spoilers. Holy. Okay. I'm Ilena. I like making handcrafted games. I think where I started was being self-taught, so I did that by finding Creative Commons images and photoshopping them together. One of the first games I made, we took archival images of, I was trying to make a manatee game, but we couldn't scientifically back that, so it's a sea cow game. With dugongs and manatees, and we collaged them to create and a Dutch fisherman to create a sea cow game. Do you want to go to the next slide? And I also like claymation, so I work with clay. Every time I pause, Biagi, that's when you go to the next slide. And games about angry librarians who throw books at people to calm them down. And currently a game about a elder bricklayer in a solar punk future building a road back to her best friend.
Howdy, y'all. My name's Jack King Spooner. I'm from Tucson, Arizona. My life up until now has been mildly unsatisfying, but now I feel like I made it.
How do I follow up on this? I'm just Lukáš. I'm from Prague, Czech Republic. I've been working at the studio Amanita Design for the past 9 or so years. And I haven't really made anything worth talking about with my own hands ever in my life. I've just been observing some really cool people in the studio from my sort of producer/PR marketing role. So hopefully I'll be able to offer maybe a sort of a different insight or an outlook on the handcrafted side of making games. And yeah, our most recent project is Phonopolis. You can see some of the paper and cardboard handmade assets that were made for the game, for example. Yeah, even little things like particle animations for smokes and flames and all that are made in the very traditional and very time-consuming handmade stop-motion frame-by-frame way. This is just one of the scenes. Yeah, I think we'll get to talk about the game specifically later. Yeah, that's it for the introduction.
Quick question, Lukáš. If I'm at Amaze, is there any way I can play Phonopolis?
Yes, it's at the exhibition. We were part of the nominations this year.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. And also, we are releasing next week, finally, after 10 years of development. So, finally.
Yeah, you are. Woo! Awesome, awesome. Well, we'll get it started with a question that Antonio prepared a lot for, and we'll give a really good answer to, which is, what is the first thing you remember making with your hands? Anybody have a...
I think Antonio has the
Yeah, do we think so?
Okay, the problem is I was stressed about this question because I don't remember making anything. Okay, like the first thing I remember making was working on this game, crafting stuff, and that was like 2 years ago. So that's not a cool answer.
You can talk about it. Do you
It's
want to
not
talk about
like
it?
it's not about my childhood. You
That's
know?
okay. Doesn't have
Like I do remember playing with clay in my childhood, you know, like Play-Doh and stuff. But I think I was one of the kids that liked putting stuff in my mouth, so I would eat a lot. So my mom didn't let me play with that much. So I think that's my story.
That was beautiful. Anybody else have any memories they'd like to share?
Okay. I remember when I was a kid, I really wanted some Barbies that all my friends had, and my mom said that we don't spend money on things like that. So instead, she gave me a magazine, and then she told me to cut out clothes and imagine a doll, and that actually satiated the need, and I realized that I didn't need a Barbie.
Beautiful.
No, we don't. I don't think we need to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what was the first handcrafted object or image you put together for a video game?
Wait, is it?
So I think the idea to make video games came from an idea of the best medium to express some concept of autobiography with the way we tell stories, rambles here and there, and it isn't really a true thing. The retelling of the story is kind of more meaningful than actually how it was when it happened. So probably the first thing was I tried to redraw like a map of the little village I grew up in, and then that went into a kind of prototype for one of my games, which is this one. Oh, that's my little cat. It died.
Was that how you started with game development? Like, did you start straight making like?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking I would like to do some kind of interactive theater, but I have the social skills of like a dormouse, so I wasn't able to get people to do it. Then I thought, oh, I can make a game. So that's kind of where it came from. But that wasn't my first game. But yeah, it ended up like this. Oh.
Yeah. My first handcrafted game thing I made was because I was terrified. I didn't know how to make art at all, and especially not art for video games. I felt like I had no idea what I was doing. I was like trying to make pixel art that looked really bad. And I was like, oh my gosh, I remember being a kid and my mom was a big crafter. She was the mom who would come and teach the art classes in our schools. And so we had a lot of craft. I was around a lot of craft materials as a kid. So I went to Blick and I bought some glitter glue and crayons and felt and like kind of the textured blue paper that's in this image. And I made the art for an insane small physics game for a class I was in that was about a woman trying to give birth while at Disneyland on a spinning cup. I also put just a little bit of my hair that I like put together with glitter glue in it. And that was the first handcrafted thing that I made. And then I scanned it on like a flatbed scanner. And so in a lot of my solo work, I do a lot of 2D flat things. And yeah, this is the image from that. Yeah.
I have a question for Lukáš, because as you've seen, we've all kind of have a little bit of an idiosyncratic vibe. And I think you've worked a lot with people of a similar vibe and had to keep them on track. Do you think you could speak a little bit about, like, while we're all doing like these insane handcrafted things, how you kind of like manage the personality of this medium?
Yeah, to be fair, at Amanita, we are very like art-driven and not much business-driven, which is a very fortunate thing to stay because of our past. We had some successful games many years ago. So we don't really, base our work that much on like the production processes or anything. It's usually the visionary behind the game and the artist that also is like in the main production role, and I'm more like in the release management and that sort of production kind of thing. So that's usually up to the artists. And with like Phonopolis, that is a game that's been in development since 2013, basically. That's where the first ideas came up, and it only entered Amanita, came under Amanita's wings in like 2016. And yeah, they picked this process of doing it the way they did it with like cardboard. Also, it's kind of good to mention maybe that the method changed. Because in the beginning, you guys know the game Luminosity, I think. That was kind of the first idea of doing it, like making an actual scene and taking photos of it. But I think the team quickly found out that it sort of limits the interactivity very much. Like it can be very beautiful, but there's not much you can do with like, if you want to have the game really like tangible and like very touchy, which was kind of the point of Phonopolis in the end. It was literally impossible to do this like photographic way. So in the end, the method was way more time-consuming and maybe complicated because like we have 3D models in Unity, and based on those models, we texture them in Unity, but then we sort of print the textures, and on a plotter we cut out like stickers and put them on like a piece of cardboard, and then we apply all the like hand paint and sand it with sandpaper and apply this sort of patina, and then we take photos of these like hand processed textures with the material, the cardboard in it, captured in the photos, and put them back into the 3D engine. Which is kind of crazy, but it allows you to really have like, little doors of a house. You can drag them and open them one by one, which wouldn't be possible at all if we did it the old,
That's really interesting that you said that, because I think we had a similar problem. If you go to the Abigail screenshots, I think for a moment there we started doing just collages of stuff. We would take a picture of a building and just put it on like a virtual background or anything, and you could walk around freely, and there wasn't any like actual diorama. But we felt that it didn't feel as good as it looked in real life, right? So we decided to move to a more of like a connected area where everything that we created, the whole diorama, everything is together. So lighting seems a little bit more realistic and things look a little better. But we're still on this like, this is just a 2D image, like a pre-rendered background. You're walking through this area and it's just a flat image, a picture. But what we found through like showing this game to people is that like people want to like explore nooks and crannies, and they want to touch the things. And with this flat image, it wasn't as conducive to what we wanted to do. The quick pitch of our game is that you're returning to your hometown after a while away. So it's about like rediscovering the city you grew up in. So we worked with this visual for a while. This is what the game looked like. But Biagi had an insistent idea that we should transform it into 3D, and we should make it 3D, so like exploration feels a little more interactive. Interactive is not the right word, but like you can see every nook and cranny, and you can hide things in the city, and exploration feels a little like different than just a 2D image. So we moved to this like photogrammetry technique where we have the entire city built by hand, and we individually take each building and we take like 150 photos from every angle, then we put it on reality scan, and that makes us a 3D model for us, and that's what we use.
Yeah, how much harder do you feel like it made the development and everything transitioning to 2D?
Much harder.
Yeah,
like,
we can relate, yeah.
Yeah, anytime you're, because I think like a 2D scene, the level of interactivity and stuff is a little bit more like, there's specific intention, but when as soon as you put a player with like a 3D character controller in a 3D space, they can, there's so many more seams and like things and expectations, I think, a little bit too. And then each individual asset, like I think there was a time when we would craft things and we would take a picture of it, and that was kind of like, it was in the game basically. But now it's like you craft it and then you take pictures of it and then you clean it up in Blender and then you make the textures look nice and then you make the model not like semi-performant. This is not right now. And then like having to like also add this level of like care and detail that like a 3D game kind of demands, or at least from like a player's perspective, I think a little bit.
And it's kind of stupid because we started this project, like I think it was not the main reason, but one of the big reasons why we were using handcrafted stuff is that we didn't know Blender. And that whole thing, like looking at a 3D making software, scared us really bad. So like, oh, we want to make a city, but we don't want to touch that because that's scary. What else can we do? Oh, why don't we make stuff by hand and like take pictures of it? But then we looped back around because we need to use Blender now to like clean things up and rig things. We have a little, can you show the cockroach? Yeah, those animals right there, they have animations, and that's something that we're allowed to do now because we're not using pictures, we're using like 3D models, and we rig this like cockroach that's reciting not Hamlet, Shakespeare in general. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, speaking of the art style in general, like Ilena and Jack, I would love to hear about why you choose this medium and what you think it brings to the stories that you're telling.
Okay, let's go back to hair. I think if this is going to be like a conversation or a panel or something, I want to push back on some things. I don't think it is insane what we do or what I do, and I find it a bit troubling that there's something where I'm looking to kind of look at things, look at the kind of how, even like the etymology of words and what the give somethingness of that is. Is it art or is it not? So I think it's insane that people spend 3 years making something in the pursuit of money. That's insane for me. Like, no, I'm never going to be popular or anything, but I like making things. And so far, the only thing from which I've seen is hair on your thing, and you almost dismissed that like that was a joke, like, oh, it's about Disneyland and things like that. But you must, I like to think, I'm not attacking you or anything, but you must think what inspired you to take some of your own hair. Hair is a very meaningful thing, especially a woman's hair as well. Like religions across time, Islam, Judaism are almost terrified of women's hair. So dismissing that. So why? What was the question? Why?
No, it's okay.
Why
it's
do you
okay.
make things? It's to so you can. It's not really. I make things and I don't know what the question was.
No, that's okay.
But you can think about the medium you're making, and as you're making it, it can be a meditation on meaningfulness, and it starts to give you something. And it becomes there's an interesting question at the moment of if it's giving you something, it almost feels like you're remembering it. If you're doing, a lot of musicians can see this a lot more, that when they're writing music, actually, it's this which should go here. And it feels like you're remembering something. But that kind of begets the question of remembering it from when. And you start to get this very wonderful feeling that you're remembering it from some place in the future, and that's why I like making things.
Yeah, I would love to address the thoughts here, because I do kind of, I think I do kind of throw it away. I think it's a little bit of, because partially that whole.
Are you scared?
Oh, I think I'm a little scared. I think it's also a little bit of like, I think sometimes I have a hard time owning.
Everyone's got to
things.
stop being scared and using silly language to kind of dismiss things. You just got to, we got probably only got one chance here, so we've
Yeah.
got to kind of express it as we find it.
Yeah, well, so I think to answer your question about the hair, I do think specifically this is told as like a little girl's diary where she is fantasizing about what it would be like to give birth. And I don't know if anybody else has like any like memory books from when they were a kid, but my parents were obsessed with keeping my hair from my first haircut. And it's like in a little, so when I thought about like diaries and scrapbooks, I like thought about my hair from that a little bit, and I thought it would be fun to put
That's
a version of.
amazing.
See, so that's the
nice
answer.
It's so, and it's
So thank you
probably
for asking.
much richer than that, even if you look at it further, and it'll give you more and more and more, and it'll give everyone else more and more and more. It's like oh God, I'm going on.
No.
Like flirting. I've really got into flirting. And I don't mean like I want to like smooch people or anything like that, but I kind of want to just try and make, and you know, it's not like gender specific or anything, it's like the guy in the cake shop or whatever, and just to kind of like make their day a little bit better, and then they'll maybe kind of give the next person a slightly bigger bit of cake, and then, you know, and if we all kind of just like, you know, that could be nice. Who knows?
Yeah.
Why do you make things, Ilena? Holy shit. Why am I here? Why am I here?
I make things because I'm mad. So I think almost all games I make are rooted in anger. How come, Biagi, when everyone else is going, you're like so good at DJing, and then, okay.
He gets bored when I talk, so he's really
The
good at
cake's
switching.
being passed around. Okay, so this is, okay, yeah, fine, this slide works. Oh, no, that's not the right one. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so with my games, they usually are rooted in anger and trying to find a way to productively convert that into something else. And I really like the challenge of taking a narrative and then making sure that gameplay is a metaphor of that. So like this game is called Seeing Red. And you play a librarian who just gets really fed up with everybody always like yapping away at the library, and you find out if you throw books at them. They have different titles like The 7 Habits of Highly Relaxed Jameses. If you throw a book at it, it infuses the book's powers on people. And this was like a 2-part. I wanted to take a violent mechanic and then find a way to technically make it non-violent. I mean, nobody dies, so, and they actually get really chill when they're hit with a book. So, yeah, and then for Seeing Cow, that was like, my background is as an environmentalist and a water quality specialist, and I was like, okay, first game I'm gonna make, fine, it'll be about environmental communication of some sort. And Biagi, this is when you go to the Sea Cow slide, and thank you. You play a manatee who's trying to seek revenge on these party people on a boat who keep throwing trash into the water. I think at the heart of everything, what I care most about is like resiliency, or finding a way to push back against the system, and not necessarily violently, maybe slightly violently. And just kind of create some balance in a really small way. And I think also why handcrafted is accessibility reasons. Like I want to be able to make almost everything I make as close to free as possible. Like I can at least do a shitty job of all the different elements. Yeah. I think this is when I think of a question for the next person, but Biagi, do you have a question?
Well, I think since I'm already on your slides and I've gotten in trouble, let's keep it here for one more second because I am curious. I think you got a little bit there at the end of like the ethos behind your handcraftedness, and you mentioned how you want to do things for as close to free as possible. Could you speak a little bit to like what softwares and pipelines and things like what is like structurally in practice does it feel like to do things for as close to free as possible for you?
Yeah. Okay. So spoilers. I also work at Godot. And Emmy's in here too, which is a open source software. I think I care a lot about like backing and being part of things where it's free for people to use and they don't need heavy hardware or software. And I mean, that's kind of also why I think we're drawn to handcrafted things, right? Like, I don't want to learn Blender's open source, so we're cool with Blender, but I don't want to learn another software, so I'll just make something by hand. Oops, okay, now I've had to learn another software. But yeah, I think I like not only free, but also ideally self-taught, because I think I did wind up eventually going to school for this, but I think like if somebody can teach themselves how to do something with whatever resources they have around them, I think that's one of the coolest things we can do. Yeah.
I think you speak of when you're just like, oh, even if Blender is free, I don't want to learn a new software. And I think that's a good point, because I think I think the best part of working on our game is the crafting part. I'm usually like our lead programmer, so I'm like tucked away in a corner, like typing on the computer all the time, and it sucks ass because programming is boring as fuck. But when we craft, we get together, we get a room, and we put like some bullshit reality TV on, and we have like a bunch of cardboard and glue guns and like felt and clay, and we just get together and shooting the shit for like hours, and it doesn't even feel like work, right? We're just chatting, and we're doing like things with clay, the same things that we used to do as a kid. She did, I used to eat it. But I think there's like a rejection of like modern like work in a way that feels really good to do, and it doesn't feel like work in an interesting way. And I think like rejecting Blender is just more than that, just more than like I don't want to learn a new software. It's like I don't want to be in the computer all day by myself. So I think that's one thing that draws me to handcrafted stuff. Yeah.
On that similar note, and maybe for Lukáš and Jack over there, how do you navigate, I guess, a project that is like indulgently craft driven? And maybe this is a good one for Jack too. Of like, where do you find that like something is indulgently craft driven, or do you find that it ever is?
Indulgently craft driven.
Yes, like where I guess like the line of like, am I doing this because there's purpose and meaning, or because I like the feeling of crafting, or is it where is the line between indulgence in like the fun part of this activity and like the structure of the game you're making?
Thank you.
No line.
I think what I can say about the process behind Phonopolis and the sort of a reason that it's made the way it's been made is simply because the team wanted to take a break from working at the computer most of the time, because that gets very stale and boring, I guess, just sitting at a computer at the same desk every day. The sad truth is that it still ended up being like vast majority of the work is still sitting at the computer and doing stuff in the 3D engine and 3D Studio and all that. But I think the team has appreciated very much taking those breaks and like actually touching, something that you're working on that maybe makes a little bit of a difference, or a big difference perhaps, than just seeing it virtually on a flat screen, but actually having these objects, touching them and adding those little details or those textures probably creates some kind of a different relationship with the thing that you're making, because having it just virtual is a little cold in a way, and being able to touch it makes it a little warmer, maybe. I don't know. What do you think, Jack?
I mean, the truth is you can't touch it. It's on a screen, and it's just an art style. And some people will use this art style as a way to kind of sell their games. Hey, wonderful handcrafted game. But it is just an art style. You can't touch it, but you can see that someone else has touched it. And I think that's an aspect. Yeah, I didn't mean to be like standoffish about the word indulgent, but I've been advised to take a pause before I spout my opinions, because sometimes my head kind of works faster than my mouth. And I guess there's a kind of, I guess it's kind of getting at a conflict between we're making things because it's easy, it's the quickest way to kind of produce the things, or you're making things because it's kind of giving you something, and it's like actually it's it's a meditation and introversion of looking and hearing, I don't know, or feeling what it says. So I guess it becomes a bit indulgent that I'm spending my life making things, and not and not doing something which might be more virtuous or something like that. But yeah, that's I don't know, man.
I have a question for you. When you say it's just an art style, what do you mean by that?
Because it's like, are we trying to say that we're better than another art style or something like that? Yeah.
No, it's not hierarchical. But
No,
like,
it's just an art style then.
what does it mean to be just? Like, does it influence like game design?
For me, it influences what the work has to say. So the one on the left is kind of like action figure. Well, this one, oh, it looks nice up there. Is kind of action figure-y. So it was a way to get people feeling kind of reminiscent, or thinking, oh, I see how that might have been made, and then it becomes a kind of thesis on storytelling and this kind of archetypal, like a fairy tale is kind of like the dream of a culture, and Freud looked at dreams in a very analytical way, and I think that we can look at fairy tales in the same way. So that was the way into that. And then Machina, I didn't direct this one, but it was like everything was made out of scraps and stuff like that. So, and people could see that it was made out of scraps, and then they're all scrappy, and they just kind of love it.
But I guess my point is, doesn't that transcend just an art style? If the thesis of the game.
Yeah, maybe you're hung up on the word just.
Yeah, I am.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I think on a similar note, when we were doing our, like at the first beginning stages of our project, is we wanted to build a city, because it's about going home, going back to your hometown, and we wanted a city that you felt like implicit nostalgia for. And I mean, we're all from very different places, and we were trying to figure out like a way of like, we have the same feeling of nostalgia of like going home, of like this I don't know, kind of universal feeling for people who've moved away. But it's really hard to like communicate the specificity of a city at like a universal level, right? In the same way that that feeling is. And so I think a big part of us like landing on these art styles and wanting this like handcraftedness is like, you feel, at least for us in our experience, you do feel a little bit of like a child when you're looking at this thing, and it kind of like makes it easier to put your memories of home and place and things on this sort of like ambiguous handcrafted city.
Yeah, I fully agree, and I think there's more to it than just that. There's also like the materials that we choose to use, right? And half of it is like convenience, meaning like meaning that is being made intentionally and unintentionally. So I think in our game, each neighborhood is made out of a different material. This is like this one we're seeing right now is the middle class, the neighborhood the main character grew up in, you know everybody. So we used felt and like pipe cleaners to create it. Everything's made out of felt. So there is this like fuzzy, soft feeling that is like inherent to like the material that we're transmitting. And part of that was like, we thought about that, and part of that is just accident, right? The other, if you go to the clay slide, like we have the historic city center in our game is made out of clay. And I think that also creates a lot of meaning with the material that we chose to use, because clay dries up and cracks, and it like you can see the history of every like fingerprint. So this is the historic city center.
What materials did you use for the poor neighborhood?
It's a collage area, like so just very like thrown together a little bit with like.
And that one is also like a warehouse district that like closed down and has kind of been reclaimed by the artists. So the idea of it being like, oh, it used to be this warehouse area, now it's this kind of similar to the way that you would repurpose objects for collage.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, this is a bit selfish of a question to ask, but Isabelle and Lukáš, I'm curious for handcrafted games if there's like a specific tool or website or some resource that you use that aids in the process of making the games that you make.
I don't got one off the top of my head. Do you have one off the top of your head?
Yeah, you mean like specifically software, websites, digital resources?
Excel sheet.
Not much. Yeah, I don't think I can think of anything that would be like very, very specific to our process or be a resource in the creation of our assets or anything like that. Yeah, like in case of Onopolis, it's usually the hand-painted cardboard stuff. But for example, with like some of our older games, and I'm answering a different question, or maybe Isabelle will follow up with a better answer later. But yeah, we like to use the real world as sometimes in some of the games, not all of them, obviously. But for example, for some of our older games, like Samorost 1, 2, 3, to some extent, or Machinarium, also use some real-world materials. Because Adolf Lachmann, who is the artist on these games, he's not just a brilliant painter and sculptor, and yeah, does amazing art, usually with some like robotic structures and beings involved. He also likes to take pictures of basically everything, like really, really ugly walls, for example, that you wouldn't really think of, you know, being used in like a beautiful game or something like that. But the thing is that such a wall, you know, old, that was wet at some point and now it's dry, and there's like a lot of history in it, and like it includes so much detail and texture and history or whatever, that it would be really, really hard to sort of replicate with like just digital painting or even like analog painting or anything like that. So yeah, he's got really good eye for taking those photos and likes to use them a lot. And for example, yeah, Samorost 3 was like a really fun combination of like his digital painting skills and using those pictures of like mouses and walls, and there's like 5 different planets in the game, and each of those yeah, had like a different color palette, so different photos used for it. So yeah, completely different question.
I think I'm going to do something similar, which is that my secret is I am a deeply inefficient person. I don't know a lot of shortcuts on my computer. Everything I own is completely full of like pictures, and I have to delete stuff to take new pictures. And so I'm not great at the efficiency and like using the best software, but I am really good at becoming attached to objects. And so I do have a question I'm dying to know everybody else's answer to, because we stupidly decided to make a city and also giant dioramas, and we also live in New York City where we have no space. So we stack everything in these little shelves in this small workspace that we are very grateful that we get to have from NYU's Game Center.
For another 2 months.
For another 2 months, and then we don't know what happens next, but that's okay. We're not there yet. But there was a day where there were a lot of, we were trying to downsize and organize, and we had to make a choice about some buildings, and we had to, the boys made me kill some buildings, and I had to look away, and he took a video of him stomping on the clay castle and all these things, and it was horrifying to me. And so I think, but I had to let a couple things go, because I was like, okay, that one I made, it was kind of ugly. I didn't do a very good job on that one. That's fine. Antonio can stomp on it. But I'm curious how you all store your objects, how you decide when an object has served its purpose and you no longer need it. Are you an obsessive? I do have a lot of the stuff for my solo work. I have a big file cabinet in my room, and I have folders. Because it's 2D, it's a lot easier. So I get to obsessively keep that, but with the 3D stuff, it's a lot harder. Do y'all have any stories of letting go of objects that have, or are you an obsessive keeper?
Mine's quite tragic. So I made, for Tulo, which is the game I'm currently working on, we made handmade, thank you. We made, it's like a combination of 2D and 3D objects, but I'm so sorry. This is bad composition on my end, because it's kind of covered by a mountain, but on the bottom,
It's pretty.
right, you can see some of the physical objects that we made out of wood. They are not portable, but I try to make them portable by snapping the legs off and then putting them back together with the blue tack. I do have to say that they don't really function anymore. For this, we were thinking oh, we should bring our physical objects so people can kind of check it out. And I was like, I think mine would actually be really sad to look at. So what I do is, I kind of break them to try to make them more compact and smaller until they're truly destroyed. But they're digitally memorialized, so they're not totally dead.
I kind of do just an art style. So I guess I'm kind of dismissing it a bit, but there's a strength to, there is a strength to it, that there's some unexpressible value to a handmade object, unexpressible in unvarnished prose. And you might not really kind of get it from playing the game, oh, that's made from this or something, but they do get it. I think you get it. It's there with the felt is a richer thing, and that you've had a thought in it. But I just kind of squish them up and make something new out of them.
Quick question. What materials do you usually use? What?
So these dolls up here, I use epoxy and milliput, which make quite a hard thing, and you can get some real details to them. It's really long to work with. Then I kind of get little action figures and kind of bastardize them sometimes. With certain things, I like this golden crow. Crow kept on coming up. It was going through a hard time, guys. And crow is symbolic. One of these symbols across many cultures of death, obviously, but also rebirth and also premonition. So that kept on coming up in coincidence. And it was the Oscars, so I decided to make a golden crow, and that was. One of the questions is, what is a favorite material to work with? And a really underappreciated material is tinfoil. You can squish it up and make good shapes, and then you can take it out and you can have a hollow frame for something. So tinfoil I use a lot. And then you can get bandage plaster, and that can make a nice kind of structure which you can build on as well. And then foam clay. So my studio looks like just lots of little things, and if you don't know what to do, you can just take a material and see what happens with it, and I think that's quite nice. And these are cheap as well.
So that makes it more than an art style, because you're I redact that a bit, but then but also pixel art isn't just an art style, or absolutely.
So I see what the hang up with the word just is, and I redact that. I'm happy to. But yeah, I felt like it was like some kind of
No,
we
yeah,
make
I understand.
hands.
We're not putting ourselves
We
on a
have
pedestal.
hands.
No,
I
no way.
can't be
Yeah.
bothered with that. So
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I'm there with you.
Lukáš, can I pretty please hear about how Phonopolis stores all their cardboard?
Uh,
Or if they
I-
don't, but I
think-
kind of feel like they do.
Yeah, I think that's one of the cool things about cardboard because it's pretty easy to store cardboard, and also the fact that we don't like glue together the scenes or the objects, like the things that you see on the right, the little head thing and the little city model are glued together basically just for fun and for exhibitions and stuff like that, but mainly for fun. It's nice to see them come together in like real life as real objects, but most of the assets look like the things on the left, which are like little sheets of textures, and lots of things are, you know, cut out from cardboard and like very, very small objects that you can easily store in boxes. So it doesn't take too much space, but it's a little bit of a mess. Most of the stuff that we have is stored in one of our colleagues' room, like right behind him is like this shelf stacked with boxes and sheets of these textures and everything. Yeah.
I have one last question for Jack. I think you wrote it, like, do you consider concepts like naffness, cloyiness, tackiness, or ugliness when making things? And I wonder, what's your thought on that? Because I'm obsessed with your art style, and I want to know, like, why do you consider tackiness when making
man,
things?
I'm just a nobody.
We're
all nobodies. It's fine. What were the words? Naffness.
Naffness, cloyiness, tackiness. I think.
Yeah, I think that I think when handcrafty things often tend towards some kind of childishness, which I can find pretty stomach turning. Looking at my very childish-looking games, but not all of them are like this. So there is a kind of a charming ugliness to it. Like, what is the saying? What do people on dating sites say? Unconventionally good-looking. So I go for unconventionally ugly. That's what I go for, unconventionally ugly. So definitely thinking about is something, but I don't want to be brash or naive or anything like that. And yeah, no, there's a more important point that the making behind it is completely. You'll come to find the more you think about it, is completely okay. I'm going to go there. Joe, I'm going to go there. I've been told to tone it down a bit. But art is part of a five-sided shape. Yeah, I'm going there. And the other sides are truth, light, magic. And behind it all together now, love. And the more you look at, and you can take that love in different directions. You can look at an object, and it can become introspective, and it gives you more and more, and you find a closeness with nature and love, and then scientists will take it in the other direction to explain the open world. But it is the more you find, and old people will definitely tell you this. So what was the question? So that's fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I think that is a beautiful, beautiful thought.
Don't end on that.
Well,
Jesus.
we have our hour together is almost up, and
right.
we wanted to give a second to
What's
see.
your favorite digital program to work with?
I already answered that one, and it's filling my computer with objects. But if we want to have anybody in the audience asking questions, if anyone has any, yeah, I'm here. We just hand on this microphone.
Great talk. Very
Thank you.
chaotic, but awesome.
Thank you. Not planned.
I'm also a game developer, and I find it very hard sometimes because games are so multifaceted, and then there's so many things you need to make like one thing to move, and it's really hard to keep your mind in one space because sometimes you're here and sometimes you're forcefully taken there. But would everything be a little bit easier? Would it be a little bit easier to capture this burst of emotions? Would it be a little bit closer between you and what you're making if you're making everything by hand? Or that's still like too much because it's still a game at the end of the day?
I don't think it's necessarily easier, no. I think you can express, like, you can reach any point of not maybe, any point of expression. I don't know, how do you quantify expression, right? But I think for me it's easier, yeah, because I don't want to maybe learn other tools, and like clay is such an interesting material to like mold and like feel things out. So for me, it's an easier way to express myself, but I don't think that's universal, and I think it's like whatever speaks to you at the moment.
Yeah, what it makes me think of is like I'm currently struggling with this on my current project. Is I've just hit the point where I don't see any value or anything good about the game at all. It's just torturous to make. I don't know if I'm the only one who feels that way ever, but I think I think part of the allure of handcrafted, and this taps in a little bit to Jack, what you're saying about like about the love of making it, is it jolts you out of all of the logistics, like how are we going to get this done on time, what's actually necessary, what's not necessary, how do I use the resources I currently have, and it reminds you that you're playing. And I think this happens also with like music in a game, like getting to add in a little bit of who you are into whatever it is you're creating. And handcrafted is, and this is why we're doing this panel, is because like we would love more people to be making games from hand with their hands, because it's like a bit meditative, and it reminds you that like maybe it's not that serious, maybe you're just making a game, and to have a little fun in the process as well. Yeah.
Do we have time for one more question?
Yeah, for one question.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, sorry. If
No, go
anybody
ahead.
asked
You're
about
good.
anything, I went to pee and came back. You mentioned, somebody mentioned that it's just an art style. I think. I wonder when does it come back, and when does the art style influence what the game actually is? So, for example, I know that in Pixel.
Yeah, this is a very salient point. I think this is a big problem with video games. And so I came into it, I was kind of making things, I had an idea, I wanted the best way to express that idea was the medium. Whereas now I've found that I have the medium, and then I go out to find the idea to catch with it. Kafka said it's like you have a cage and you go out to find a bird, and yeah, it's a troubling point. I've no answer, and I think if you have an answer, then you need to question that answer, and so yeah. The art style, well, yeah, where does the art style come back round? So there's capital A art, then there's smaller A arts, which are design and craft. But the capital A art, when does it come back to that? It just takes time, you know. The capital A art is a circle, a perforated circle. So is it art? The only answer is like, not yet. Okay, these are pretty weird answers.
Is that us done? Is it art? Not yet. Is a good answer. Not yet. Our games are.
Thank you so much.
You guys have been radical. Thanks very much. I got games.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for this inspirational talk,
Thank you.
discussion.